So here you can see this verse is from the Brahma Samhita. Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Someone want to read this for me? Hello.
There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all the causes.
So this is the verse spoken by Lord Brahma. So in it means that in Sanskrit it means that among all kind of controllers, Ishvara means controller. Uh, Among all kind of controllers, the supreme controller is Krishna. So Krishna's body is eternal. So the word eternal means it's got no beginning, no end. Hmm? And it is chit means full of eternity, knowledge, and ananda means bliss, and vigraha means he has got a form, spiritual form. Now here this word anadir, that means he has got no beginning. Not that he has been created. That's why the word eternal is also there. So there is no creation for God. On the contrary, he is the source of everything, Adi. Adi means the beginning of everything. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also said that I am the seed giving father of all living entities. Eh? And again, his name is Govinda, specific, referring to Krishna, who give pleasure to the senses and the cows. And another last point here, the Sarva Karanam Karanam, he is the cause of all causes. So God is not somebody that is created like us. We have a beginning and we have an end. That means our material body has got a beginning and an end. Of course, our soul is, of course, like God, is eternal also. But because it is conditioned by Maya, so we are now put into this material body. But God is not like that. God does not accept a material body whereby he gets created. No. Krishna says that his body is not subjected to these miseries of this material world. His body is transcendental. Says here in this verse
4-6.
6, huh? So here you can see Krishna said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I remember all of them, but you cannot, O subdue of the enemy. So he's telling that, you see, when we change body, we forget. But God is different. He doesn't change body. Although he takes birth, but his body is not like taking birth like us. That's why the Lord says here, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, by my internal energy I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. So God's body is original transcendental form. So that body is not subject to decay or forgetfulness, or death. It doesn't. So this is the transcendental position of God. And here specifically say, although I'm unborn. That's why the Lord We are taking birth, but the Lord, when He comes, we call it as avatar, descending. So the word avatar means not taking birth. It means that the Lord descends to the material world. You know, that is also confirmed here. So in this verse, it says, sorry, this verse here. So in this verse, Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, see the word Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. In Sanskrit, it means that he appears. I appear millennium after millennium, you know, in his original body. It is not Atma. I think the one was before.
Yes, yes. Atma Maya.
Yeah,
Pratishnami.
yes. Where's that Atma Bhaya? Yeah.
4-6.
4-6.
Yeah.
Hmm. So here, Sambhavami Atma Maya, see? This word Atma Maya in Sanskrit means by my internal energy, not by external energy. We are now subjected to the external energy of the Lord called Maya. But here the Lord comes by his own internal potency. So it's two different things. You see. That's why the transcendental body of the Lord, the body of the Lord is called transcendental. Our body is called material. So there's a gulf of difference. So therefore we have to understand the constitution of the Lord and us. We are taking birth, so we are created. Our body is created at a certain point of time, and is also annihilated. Our body goes through 6 changes. It takes birth. It can have grows youthful, and then it subject to uh, disease, and then there's old age, and then there's death. But our body, the Lord's body is not like that. He is called Navayavana. There's another word for him. Navayavana means is always youthful. There's no picture of God as an old man. That doesn't exist actually. Uh, and we, it says here, we go through these changes. Share the impregnation, gestation, birth, infancy, childhood, youth, middle age, old age, and death are the 9 ages of the body. See? So our body go through all these changes. Whereas the Lord's body, you know, I think it is in Brahma Samhita
33.
533.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, here. So you can see the word here, Navayavanam. So Navayavana means uh, blooming youth, it says here. It doesn't go beyond the age of youth, he looks very youthful always, eternal. So God's position is very different, huh? That we cannot try to think that he's one of us like ordinary person, And not only that, there's another thing that is different from him. For him is that his senses are all interchangeable, Uh,
Previous
uh,
was there.
I see here his senses angane yesha sakalendriya vittimanti. For example, I can see only with my eyes. Each of the limbs of the transcendental figure possess himself the full-fledged function of all other organs, and eternally sees, maintain, and manifest the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. For example, I can see with my eyes, but the Lord can also eat with his eyes. He can create with his eyes. You know, he can hear not only with his ears, with the nose, everything. That's why it says here his limbs are all interchangeable. Hmm? Each of the limbs of the transcendental figure possesses himself a full function of all the other organs. So this is another difference between the Lord and us. So we are thinking that the Lord is an ordinary person. uh, So again, another amazing thing of the Lord is that yeah, I can see this word here, Asna Viram, translated as,
Out there.
see that? So he has no veins. Now our body, if there's no veins, nobody can live, no, because veins are carrying the blood all over our body. But the Lord's body doesn't have any veins. Hmm? Hmm? So that's again another difference. And not only that, anything that goes to him get purified. Huh? Is a papa with them. Just like the sun, anything the sun can purify even a dirty place. The Lord is more powerful than the sun. In fact, He's the creator of the sun. Hmm? So therefore, His position is unique. You have to understand that. That's also confirmed by not only Himself, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva. So many demigods speak about this. Here you can see another verse particular about Him. You can see here this word, Natvat Samam Cha Abhi Abhyadikaha. See this point here? Hmm? So Tatsama means nobody is equal to him and nobody is greater than him. In other words, the translation, you are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and non-moving. You are his worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is there, no one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you, nor can anyone be greater than you. See that? Within the three worlds. So, this is the position of God. No? Huh? Oh, immeasurable power. So, no one is equal to him, no one can be one with him, and no one can be greater than him. So, how he can have a creator? Hmm? Doesn't valid. This point of God being created is not a what we say uh, what we say, a phrase that anybody can accept because it doesn't exist. So this is not only confirmed here, it's also confirmed in this verse. In the Shesvatara Upanishad this is also confirmed. Again, the same thing, na tat samam cha abhyadikaras che. Again, so the Lord has got no, so here, he does not possess a body, he does not possess a bodily form like that of an ordinary living entity. There's no difference between his body and his soul. He is absolute. All his senses are transcendental. Any one of his senses can perform the action of any other sense, as we have already discussed. Therefore, no one is greater than him or equal to him. Okay? So we say God is great. How great he is, we also must know. Just by saying he's great is not enough. We have to know something about his greatness so that we will be, obligated to accept his authority. Hmm. So you can see how, in fact, just one verse above this, you can see also the Supreme Lord is the controller of all other controllers. Huh? He is the greatest of all the diverse planetary leaders. Everyone is under his control. All entities are delegated with particular power only by the Supreme Lord. They are not supreme themselves. He is also worshipable by all demigods and the supreme director of all directors. And therefore, he is transcendental to all kinds of material leaders and controllers and is worshipable by all. There's no one greater than him, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. This is a mantra from the Sesvatara Upanishad. So try to understand the unique position of God. God, therefore, is not an ordinary person, as he himself says. He says here in this verse, Avajanante mamudha manusyam danamasritaham param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature, the Supreme Lord of all that be. So try to understand this unique position of Krishna. Hmm? Right? Is not some ordinary living entity. Hmm? So it's also said that he is Anu Anayan Mahato Mahyan chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita, where that was. Anu Anayan Mahato Mahyan. So therefore his position is, until we know his transcendental position, how we will surrender to him. We cannot surrender to him unless we know his all powerful position. So yeah, it says here again, Anu Aniyan Mahato Mayan, both the super soul Paramatma and the atomic soul Jivatma are situated in the same tree of the body within the same heart of all living beings. Only one who has become free from all material desires as well as limitation can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. So here in this verse, it also means Anu means small. Among the smallest, he is smallest, and among the biggest, he is the biggest. You know. So try to understand his position. Huh? So therefore, unless we know his glories, how can we love him? So again here in another place, in this place you see Arjuna is saying, Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavam Purusham Saswatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. So all these verses are very significant. Arjuna says you are the supreme personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode. Ultimate abode means there's nothing beyond that, you know. The purest, the absolute truth, you are eternal, transcendental, original person. Original means that's it, is the original, nobody, you know, before him. The unborn, the greatest, all great sages as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you. Now you yourself are declaring it to me. So try to understand the unique position of God. He's not some kind of ordinary person that takes birth, although seemingly he came and he appeared in front of his mother and father, but he did not take birth like an ordinary child. Such an incident is not there in the scriptures, you know. So he appeared in front of his mother and father in his four-handed form, you know, in his transcendental form. Hmm? So that we have to understand. Nobody appear in front of their parent with four hands. Did anybody appear like that? Huh? Nobody. So that is only position of God, you know. He also says here, my transcendental body, Satchidananda Vigraha, that I have explained, looks exactly like a human form, but it is not a material human body. It is inconceivable. I am not forced by nature to accept a particular type of body. I take on a body by my own sweet will. My heart is also spiritual, and I always think of the welfare of my devotees. Therefore, within my heart can be found the process of devotional service, which is meant for the devotees. Far from my heart, I have abandoned irreligion, adharma, and non devotional activities. They do not appeal to me. Due to all these transcendental qualities, people generally pray to me as Rishabh Deva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the best of all living entities. This is his position. He himself is saying about his unique position. Hmm? So try to, know that God is not and will never be like us. You know, we are also not what we say independent from Him. We are part and parcel of Him. Hmm? Our size is given here. Our size is in the Bhagavad Gita. It is says here that our size is very small. You know, 1/10,000 part of the tip of a hair. The innumerable particles of spiritual atom, which are measured as 1/10,000 of the upper portion of the hair, that is are the size of the soul. You know, we are the soul, very minute. Huh? The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. So the size of the soul is very, very tiny, you know. And the upper portion of a hair is divided into 100 part, and again each of such part is further divided to 100 parts. Each such part is the measurement and dimension of the spirit soul. See how small the soul is. Huh? On the contrary, This is the position of the super soul, the Lord. Others conceive of the personality of Godhead residing in the body in the region of heart, measuring only 8 inches, with 4 hands carrying a lotus, wheel, chariot, conch shell, and club respectively. So the Lord's position is about 8 inches. Sometimes they say 6, sometimes 8. But the size of the soul and the super soul is, what's the big difference? Hmm? So this is the position of God. God is not ordinary. No, cannot be. So our position is to surrender to Him. That is our constitutional position. We cannot anytime become God. That is another foolish philosophy. God is, always great and we are always tiny. You know, God retains His individuality. We also have our individuality. No time that our individuality can be compromised. Hmm?
12. Yeah. 12.
12, huh?
Yeah.
See, we always retain our individuality and God also retains His individuality. So na natva evam jatu nasham natvam minime janadipaha na chaiva na bhavisyamas sarvavayamataha param. See, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any one of us cease to be. So this again uniquely stressed the position of God being an eternal person. And of course, he himself said personally also, yeah. Mataha parantaram nanjat kinchirasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam proktam sutre manigana eva. Hmm? O conqueror, well, there's no truth superior to him. You see that? No truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Hmm? So if anyone have this notion that God is created, actually he is not thinking right. This is a kind of a what we say, representation. That's why Lord Brahma also says, while he was preaching to Lord Brahma, he said to Lord Brahma, he says that everything is resting on me and everything is maintained by me, and then after the annihilation everything enters into me and I alone exist, you know.
Aham eva sameva agre.
Yes.
So fifth shloka.
uh, so in this verse, this is the beginning, these 4 verses he spoke, the start of Bhagavatam, you know. Aham evasam evagre nanyat yat sad asat param Pashyadaham ya etadcha yo vasishyeta sosmyaham. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead was existing before the creation when there was nothing but myself. Ah, there was nothing but myself. No, was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. So if this statement is made here, then who can be the creator of God? Doesn't make any sense. Yes? Correct. And then he says in the next verse, if anything there's of any value apart from me, then it is illusion. It cannot be me. Hmm? So in this way, we have to understand the unique position of God. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality, known it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Ah, so this is the position of God, you know. God is not an ordinary person. You understand? And therefore nobody can also understand him. That's another quality of God. He is inconceivable. Nobody can conceive him. Right? So therefore someone can say that somebody created God, then that person has to, that means he doesn't understand God at all. Hmm? Yes. So we can go to the next question. Anybody got any questions up to here? Huh? Anybody has any doubts or anything? They want to raise a question? All right. Otherwise, we go on to the next question, please. What was the next question?
Why there are so many gods in Hinduism?
There are actually some questions in the chat, Prabhu, regarding the discussion that we just had.
What is that question? Is it concerned this one?
Yes, Prabhu, regarding the Lord not having veins. There's a question in the chat box.
Yeah. Okay. How is it that Lord displayed that he was bleeding when he was shot by Bhishmadev arrow if he has no vein? So this is his transcendental, again, inconceivableness. He showed that there's blood so that Bhishmadev will fight more with him. If there's no blood, then Bhishmadev will just throw down his arrows and say, wasting my time fighting with you, no? Yes? So to encourage Bhishmadev, the Lord displayed sometimes these human tendencies. But actually he doesn't have this, you know? And try to understand, sometimes he does things to bewilder the non-devotees. For example, he acted like he passed away being shot by the arrow of Jada. What was his name? Um, the hunter, you know, Jara the hunter. So supposedly for the non-believers, he died, you know. But the devotees know that the Lord's position is unique, you know. So we have to understand this with the help of the devotees. Then we can understand. Otherwise, he may become confused, you know, why that's like this, you know. So for those people who think he's ordinary, he will become ordinary. For those who understand his transcendental position, then yes, he is Krishna, God. He reveals only to his devotees, not to the non-devotees. Non-devotees, that's why there's now the verse, you know, fools deride me when I come in this human form. They think I'm an ordinary person. Hmm? Understand this thing. God is definitely, you know, very bewildering. That's why the word is there. Kunti Devi used the word, yeah, that is very vidambanam, very bewildering, you know. Why he does this, how he does this, you know, it's very, you cannot conceive. In this verse, यो वेति भौतिकं देहं कृष्णस्य परमात्मनः सा सर्वस्मत् बहिष्कार्य सौतस्मात्तविदानतः मुखं तस्य अवलोक्यापि साचलं स्नानमाचरत्. One who considers the body of Krishna to be material should be driven out from all rituals and activities of the Suti and Smriti. And if one by chance see his face, he should at once take bath in the Ganges to rid himself of infection. So see, we cannot consider at all Krishna's body as material. You know, he is not uh, as we perceive. You know, an ordinary person. You know, who knows that verse? Arche Shiladis. One who thinks that the deity is made of stone. Is 369. Give me a minute, I'll just take out this verse.
There in 421:12 purport.
What number?
421:12.
Madhya. 4.
Bhagavatam 421:12 purport.
421:12. Huh? An echo effect, I can't hear it. So you can see here in this place, this verse. One who thinks the deity of the temple to be made of wood or stone, who thinks that the spiritual master in the disciplic succession an ordinary man, who think that the Vaishnava is in the Achyuta Gotra to belong to a certain caste or creed, or thinks of Charnamrita of Ganges water as ordinary water, is to be taken to be a resident of hell. See this point? So we cannot think Krishna's body, even the deity in the temple is non-different from him. If we think even the deity is made of stone, is also offensive already. What more to think of Krishna as an ordinary person? So these are all guidelines there for to kind of make us understand, the unique position of God. Hmm. Hmm. So therefore, when he enacted this pastime with Bhishma, that's why when he comes down and does activities like an ordinary person, fools deride him and think that he's ordinary. I read the other verse also from Rishabh Dev. My body is transcendental. It is not ordinary. He can make blood come and he can also make blood not come. That is his power. He can do things. He can see with his eyes. He can eat also with his eyes. We cannot do this. Right? So try to understand his unique position. Yes? What is the other verse? What is the other question? When the soul leaves the body, it has another body to stay. Christian believes that after that the soul still wanders in the material world 40 days before it goes to its destination. So this is another question about the soul. The soul is taken immediately from here. If it goes to hell, I think it's about 9 minutes or so. It's transported to hell in a special body. But if he goes to spiritual world, then he goes immediately, So, and if he has to take a ghostly body, yes, he may wander here for some time. So that's the position of the soul. So coming back to this unique position of God, that's different, and the position of the soul is different. The soul is always conditioned, and it is transmigrating from body to body to body. But the Lord is not like that. He is different.